Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Into the Wild League. My name is Nate Wolf, and joining me, I have Ken Sanity. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, good. So far, so good. I'm excited to do this. I'm running OBS tonight, so Twitch chat, let me know if there's any problems.
Yeah,
Hopefully, we'll do okay. Tonight we have a match. We're in week 6 now. We have Eon versus MrDollSteak. Do not have the rules slide up, but we are in week 6, so hopefully everybody knows the rules by now. There are some fun deck building restrictions this week, so that'll be it'll make for some interesting matches.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. So the deck building restrictions this week are one of the decks has to have a maximum of 4 spells, and the rest have to be minions, right? And another deck has to have a maximum of 4 minions, and the rest of the cards have to be spells. And the final deck has to have even split between the two. So 15 minions and 15 spells, but you can put a Death Knight or a weapon in there as long as you maintain a parity between the decks. And like Nate was saying, this is week 6. So as is the standard for Into the Wild, um, every week the players have to bring different classes. So for weeks 4 and 5, they brought 6 of the classes. So these are the final 3 classes that they're bringing. And I believe Eon is bringing
Eon's
Hunter
got
Priest Paladin.
Yep, Hunter Priest Paladin, and Mr. Dollsteak's running Paladin, Priest, and Rogue. And we can go over their deck list briefly. I do have the what they're running. So Eon's running a Hunter. His 50-50 deck is like a Katharina Secret Hunter, so that should be pretty fun. His all minion deck is a Murloc Paladin, and his spell deck is like Malygos Velen, Prophet Velen Priest, like Mind Blast Priest. So that should be really fun.
Yeah, OTK Priest. Like if it's anything like the game earlier on this channel, which also had this very similar build, that's going to be a pretty awesome game. Mr. Dollstake brought Priest as well for his spell deck, but his is more of a standard big Priest build with Yashar's Obsidian Statue, Ragnaros.
Right, right.
He brought Rogue for his minion deck. And for the 50-50 deck, he brought a Paladin deck. So this should be an interesting
Yeah,
matchup
it's like
today.
a Baku token odd Paladin. It should with a Quartermaster and stuff. It should be pretty good. So
Yep.
all right. Well, without further ado, let's get into the games. Let me just tell them to start. Give me just 1 second here.
And guys, this is week 6. There's only one more uh, week of pool play or league play before the playoffs start. So there are playoff implications with this match, I believe. So we will see. These guys are they're going to have fun, but they're also trying their best to win. So,
These matches should be pretty even, and they're bringing some of the. I'm interested to see these. Like, I hope we don't queue into like Big Priest versus Big Priest, but I guess we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. But Mr. Dollstick is not playing. He brought odd Paladin and odd Rogue. You know what I'm saying? Like he brought some really meta decks too. So this should
Yeah,
be
for
interesting.
real. All right, these guys. What's going on here?
There we go. There we go. Finally, here we go, guys.
Okay.
Remember, this is a best of 5, right? Um, oh, and it is Priest versus Priest. Nate, you jinxed us.
Uh-oh.
So we're about to find out what is the better Big Priest build: the OTK list that um, who's playing the OTK list? Eon. Eon is playing it, I believe, or the standard Ragnaros big
Yeah.
minion build that Mr. Dollstick is running. So we're gonna have a lot of passing in the early games,
Oh
right?
yes.
Or in the early turns.
My cat's trying to sit on the computer here, so hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties. All right, starting out with the Shadow Vision, so that's not bad for an opening hand. And he went with the Spellstone. Interesting.
Is either player running Zarek's cloning gallery?
I don't
I'm
believe so, but I
guessing that.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't double check.
I'm pretty sure Eon's got to be running it. Oh no, they're not. Huh. Interesting.
So the fundamental difference in these two decks, MrDollSteak is like the classic big priest, so he's got the giant minions. Whereas you have Eon doing the Mind Blast OTK, so the only minions that he's running, Prophet Velen, Malygos, and then Emperor Thorson to reduce all the spells. So this is definitely a different matchup, I wonder what they're thinking because these are closed deck lists, so they don't know what each other are playing. This could easily they think it's Big Priest versus Big Priest, and I almost think that Eon has got the advantage here.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so too. But it really, both players have really slow hands. No Shadow Visions, or I'm sorry, no Shadow Essence, and no Barnes. But
Say, buckle up for a 45-minute match. Here we go, Shadow Essence with Eon. What did he
oh,
get?
nice pull too.
This is the deck that we just talked about on the Into the Wild last weekend with Beardy Man. It was super fun.
Ah,
So this deck, this deck is pretty gross when it works. Have some emotes going on here. So I think what Eon's going to want to do is pull a Mind Blast from that Shadow Visions. Or not.
Maybe he thinks they're playing the mirror, or maybe he just wants more discounted spells to buff up a future spellstone, I guess. I don't know.
I'm surprised he didn't take the Mind Blast there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
but
thought
a
that
Shadow
would
Essence
for sure
from MrDollSteak here.
Let's see. He opts to use the Psychic Scream early. Keep minions out of MrDollSteak's res pool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Golden Lich King. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And which card did he get from it?
Death Script.
Oh, is that the one that pulls a minion out of your opponent's deck?
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Oh,
man.
brutal. Oh, that's especially in a deck that only has 4 minions. That hurts.
Well, the good thing is that Eon already has Velen and Malygos in hand, so pulling either one of those would be close to backbreaking, I would think.
That would be devastating, but pulling the Emperor is not too bad, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's not too bad for MrDollSteak either. Discounting 8 cards feels pretty nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. Psychic Scream's a little painful, though. I mean, it just delays everything, and it ruins the res pool for DollSteak here.
And at this point, he has nothing in that res pool, right?
So no, he just keeps putting the cards in a little BM there.
See, this is what Craig started, man.
Right?
Craig is always the innovator, huh? He's just such an innovator. Innovated the BM tech.
So MrDollSteak here is just playing cards to free up his hand a little bit. And so Eon drops Malygos, and what can you do? As a priest with that exactly. 4 attack. I mean, you just can't do anything with that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just starts dropping Mind Blasts here. Oh, 20 damage Mind Blast.
Oh, well, that was a quick game.
That was incredibly fast. Wow.
That was awesome. Smart play by Eon. He knew that priests don't really have good answers for 4 attack minions, and was able to keep that on the board, drop a Prophet Velen, and deal 40 damage. That's nice and quick right there.
Yep. All right. Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, those guys can jump right into their next game.
I think so too. I think MrDollSteak was caught off guard there. He expected a more traditional big priest build. But I guess in a limited kind of, or in a control matchup, you want the OTK. So. And the 2 Psychic Screams really helped a lot too. So
yeah.
as we wait for these two to jump
Okay, I
into
let
the
them know they
mix.
can start. They can start whenever.
What do you think? Which decks do you think the players are going to bring next? I think Mr. Dollsteak will play Odd Rogue, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah. I wonder. I mean, I kind of feel like that big priest is going to be really good against any minion heavy deck, just because there's so much
mhm.
AOE, so much removal. That I wouldn't be surprised if you played it again,
Oh, there you go. You're right.
but I guess we'll see. Yeah. All right, so we've got Mr. Dollsteak's Big Priest against Eon's. This is 50-50 deck, so it's Katharina Secret Hunter.
Yeah, he's got a pretty nice opening curve too.
Yeah, that King Crush is a little unlucky, but but still, I mean, yeah, that is a pretty good opening hand actually with the Secret Keeper there.
I mean, he also has the Cloaked Huntress to
Yeah,
coin
you
out,
know that's
so
really nice,
that's
and the weapon too. I mean, it's a really nice curve. I
yeah,
think where he's gonna be hurting a little bit is just the that Psychic Scream. That's Psychic Scream
yeah.
a little nasty there, but Eon can push so much damage so quickly. I think though, Mr. Dollsteak's running Obsidian Statue and the Lich King, and so if he can just make it to turn 6, get one of those Shadow Essences out, right, to
Yep.
hopefully get one of his taunt minions, he can probably stabilize.
Good decision there. Just mitigate whatever damage you can and prevent a possible secret buffing the Secret Keeper out of range.
Right, right. Although it's still allowing him to play that secret for free. So I mean, we're on turn 3 now, at turn 4, and Mr. Dollsteak's down to, well, up to 19s, but he's
Yeah,
a
it's gonna
third
put
of
him
his
at
health is gone
11.
already. But I mean, honestly, he just needs to survive one more turn.
Oh wow.
Yep. I mean, this is the classic big priest right here, and it just feels bad. I mean, what can you really do? You don't want to attack into that.
Man, I mean, he can resurrect too.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost a game over here. I think for the hunter. I guess we'll see. I mean, if it takes out his mad scientist, wouldn't be too bad. But he's sitting on 2 resurrects, so we'll probably see.
Oh gosh, these two are funny.
He could just Eon can just concede now.
That's
It's
rough,
just,
man. Holy cow.
it feels bad. I mean, how do you get around that as the secret hunter? I mean, this
Yeah.
is you really can't. Are you gonna buff him back to full health right now? I mean, there's we see another Shadow Essence come down with a Lich King and see the BM from Eon there.
Yeah, that's just too much.
No, yeah, what can you do? I mean, really, his health will be all the way at the top. He's and honestly, if Eon manages to clear the board here, I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Psychic Scream come down. Because if he
Hmm.
can drop a bunch of wolves into Eon's deck, that messes up his chances quite a bit.
Yeah, he's fairly confident that's a freezing trap, so he's just gonna stall for a bit. He's
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
let a
there's
rat
no
go
rush
as well.
to there's no rush to attack into it. I mean, he may as well just play the Ragnaros.
Or maybe the Anduin here.
Anduin would be good as well. I mean, I don't think he wants to play the free. He doesn't want to attack into the freezing trap though. He needs his res pool preserved.
Hmm.
Twitch chat's telling me that my audio levels are low. I just upped my volume a little bit. Is this any better? You guys can let me know. But yeah, feels bad.
Salted is saying he wants to root for MrDollSteak, but he's playing Big Priest. But you just missed out, man, because the first match was a Big Priest mirror.
So. Right. Okay, so the light bomb comes down with a full board clear. And I imagine he'll pull the rag. Get Eon down to 1 health here.
Dang. Tied up, 1-1. So both players, their priest decks have won. So naturally in Conquest format, those decks can no longer be played. So that's down to MrDollSteak's odd rogue and odd paladin deck. Or Eon's Hunter and what was the other deck?
Eon's got his Paladin, Murloc Paladin as well.
Ah, yeah. Murloc Pally. I was hoping that we'd see a Paladin deck that only ran Anything Can Happen and Prismatic Lens, like just as the 4 spells, and all Murlocs or something. Thought that would be cool, but
yeah, I agree. I was kind of
really cool build. So
I would love to see like a Spiteful Summoner deck with the Anything Can Happen. That'd be pretty fun.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, does that happen at end of turn? It does happen at end of turn.
Yeah, no, with the we're talking about the Arcanologist, right? The one that plays the spell. Yeah, I mean you can run that too if you want. It'll play Anyfin, but
I'm sorry, you're right. Spiteful.
But
with a 10 mana creature.
Yeah. I mean, and in Wild, it's probably something pretty decent. All right, so we're seeing MrDollSteak's Paladin back against the Secret Hunter. So this is a Baku odd token Paladin. It looked really strong to me, honestly.
I'm going to say one thing about this deck that I'm really enjoying right now is that everything is gold. I think it's a really important thing when you are playing a show match that you have all your cards in gold.
Right? He
doesn't have a 1-drop, but he has a shitload of 3-drops. Oops, sorry. But so that might turn out okay.
It's all good. Into the Wild After Dark. We have, and you can tell his deck is all gold because he's got the golden coin there. Fancy schmancy. Wow.
Even the golden silver hand recruits,
I almost think he'd be coining out the Steward of Darkshire, right? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Because he can next turn into Mustard for Battle. It's just super gross.
The potential of that play is just too good. So even with the removal, you still got to kind of make that play.
Yeah, but he knows... I must not be spectating Eon. Hold on, his cards aren't showing for me. Give me 1 second to fix that. In spectator mode, why is it not showing his cards?
He's got a Cloak Huntress, Houndmaster Shaw, Katharina, the 4-mana removal spell, and King Crush in hand. So, Houndmaster Shaw is a strong card. Now that is just a fat body for a 4-drop. But MrDollSteak does have a bunch of options to answer the Houndmaster Shaw, so he'll be able to deal with this some way.
I think I lost the spectate super quick, but I'm getting right back on.
No problem. So MrDollSteak has 4 mana here. He's trying to figure out the best play to deal with the 3/6 Shaw. And still develop the board. So maybe the Owl to silence the effect and, still go face or put a secret up.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if he silenced it just to...
I mean, it seems like the most efficient way.
What else do you use the silence on in this deck? I mean...
Well, I mean, there's Katharina and the Taunt. So, I mean, the silence is a premium value, but...
Yeah, I mean, we could see Warhorse come down. He can just kill it with his... Oh, he could play the Pirate, too. Yeah, there we go. But, Shaw is such a... I don't know. I mean, he has a target on his back. It's just such a strong card. You have to take it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. It's a must answer. Eon debating here. Is he going to just put out a taunt to stall the board? Or will he develop with the Cloaked Huntress and the Secret and the Hero power?
What secret does he have? Is that the Wandering Monster?
It is Wandering Monster. You know, whenever I challenge hunters and they put a secret on turn 2, I'm always like, man, what are the chances this is Wandering Monster? They can't always have Wandering Monster.
It's always Wandering Monster.
It always is Wandering Monster.
I think he's debating about that Witchwood Grizzly because if, DollSteak's playing a really aggressive deck and he wants the health total to be as high as possible.
Mm.
Let me see. DollSteak, you're testing for Wandering Monster. This is kind of an interesting position for DollSteak, though. What do you really do here? I mean, he's not in a great spot. I mean, I almost think he wants to go face with that Warhorse. Maybe not. I mean...
Yeah, it's tough. He hasn't drawn into more of the premium offensive cards, I think.
Right. Well, and he's kind of baiting, for the Avenge.
Hmm. I don't know. It's challenging. I don't know.
So, yeah, no, that's an interesting move. It's hard when you have caster vision because I keep thinking like, oh, DollSteak will save the owl for the Witchwood Grizzly, but he doesn't know it's there.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Katharina. I mean, Eon has got his next few turns look really, really strong.
So. Oh yeah, no, it's going to be difficult when he drops down. Katharina, it's gonna either pull a Witchwood Grizzly or a Savannah Highmane, or I don't. Does he have Charged Devilsaur in this deck? I didn't check.
I didn't see it on the list.
But still, I mean, it's gonna be a strong couple of turns here.
Yeah.
A lot of times you see it running. It'll pull a Witchwood Grizzly at full health, so with the 12 health with taunt.
Eon noticing that he has a really strong board presence, and now looking for some face damage.
Yeah, I mean, really, he's got lethal on board. So MrDollSteak here is going to have to take one of those out. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of choice here. I think he's in trouble.
He actually doesn't have enough at all, I think, right?
No, I mean, even if he...
Because he has Crush in hand, so...
Yeah, nope, yep, that's true. Yeah, I think this is just this is game over here.
Oh, he does have the Devilsaur, huh?
What secret is that? Was it
Avenge?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and he plays the King Crush for lethal. I love it.
So Eon goes up 2-1. Man, these are quick games.
Yeah, they're really fast.
Getting at it really, really quickly. So now Eon is left with his final deck, and MrDollSteak has to decide whether he's going to go with the Odd Rogue or Odd Paladin again. I think I'd like to see the Odd Paladin one more time, especially like that hand wasn't the greatest opening hand. He had so many 3-drops, but they were really like situational 3-drops, you know. We'll see what they cue into next.
I am really excited to see Eon's Murloc Paladin. It's an interesting list. It's definitely a homebrew.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the spells are an interesting choice of spells.
What has he got in there?
He's got like 1 equality, 1 consecrate. And I don't think he has anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it either. Well, I guess we're about to see.
Yeah, I think those are the only spells. Oh, I'm sorry. And he has 2 divine favors, which obviously that's pretty good.
Not a bad opening hand though for Eon. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Dollsteak as well. I mean, this is Odd Rogue we're looking at.
I'm surprised that MrDollSteak decided to keep the SI7 agent. I thought he would throw everything but the Buccaneer back.
Yeah, it's hard without the coin.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a pretty nice opening hand.
It is,
for,
and I feel like that's a pretty strong play by Eon as well. I mean, it's a good idea to coin out the Righteous Protector because Dollsteak's gonna have to run everything into it.
I like this lineup play by Dollsteak though, to clear the board even at the cost of losing the Buccaneer. Like I'd even think you run out the Horse Rider here and just save the SI7 agent for.
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to wait for turn 4. He's got the play ready to go.
Oh wow.
Oh, I hope he gets to play Finja though. I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Grizzly's pretty favored in this match. We see the Hench Clan Thug coming out. He can attack with a weapon to kill that Murloc, and his Hench Clan Thug will grow, and Eon just doesn't have a way to kill it.
Yep. This might start to get away from him if this Hench Clan Thug continues to stay alive unchecked.
Yeah, this is pretty gross. And he's sitting on Leroy Jenkins, so Lethal's going to come sooner rather than later. Old Murkai is one of my favorite cards ever, by the way. Love seeing that come out. But do we have Lethal right now if he attacks with the weapon?
No. Right?
Oh. Eon, the message, that's, I believe, a misplay there. We can ask him about it later. Yeah, this is Lethal here by Dollsteak.
My math is bad. So it's gonna be 2-2.
Oh, yeah, no, wait, my math was bad too. Although at 1 health, what can you do? I mean,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Although he can use Old Murkai to take out that Hench Clan Thug. I mean, oh well, it's still game over. But yeah, these games are fast.
Man, it's so fast. So that's quick. Now we are on the final game.
I love this. You know what? Anytime, and we're gonna see Paladin Mirror. Anytime they can go up to 5 games, it's always good.
Yep, I agree. And these are running through just incredibly quick. We've only played like 20 minutes, so that's nice. I wonder what happened with Eon in those 2 turns before the big 22 damage turn. If he misplayed a card, or if he just didn't like the draw at that point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All right, so they're gearing up for the last game here, Paladin Mirror. I feel like Dollsteak is favored here, though.
Yeah, I would think so. And a buffed up hero power against a deck that is running very little spells to kind of mitigate the the board flood. Um, it's going to be a struggle
Yeah,
for Eon, I
definitely.
think.
Well, and unfortunately for Eon, he's got a pretty bad opening hand here. I imagine MrDollSteak is just going to be dumping his hand. Uh,
Yep.
Maybe not though. I mean, although I doubt. I mean, if you're going up against a spell deck, do you really imagine there's going to be two divine favors in it? I mean, that's not something that I would even consider. So,
That is true.
but I can see the Steward of Darkshire coming down here, coin out one of these Lost in the Jungle.
Yep, definitely. That's a big play. Assumedly, MrDollSteak knows that this is Eon's minion heavy deck. So he knows there's going to be few combat tricks to kind of catch the board up and be able to clear up the board in any relevant fashion. So I think it's a wise play right here by MrDollSteak to go as wide as possible.
Yeah, I think so too. And when you start seeing the other Murlocs that are in this deck, I think it's fairly obvious that it's not an anyfin deck, just because you'd be pulling back weird Murlocs that
Mm-hmm.
we don't normally see. This board state is just so rough to deal with, and if the Divine Shield can't be cleared, he's sitting on the Rallying Blade. All those minions are going to be buffed next turn, and it's just
Yeah, no, this is going to be a quick game 5, I think. Yes, 11 damage on board.
plus the weapon, plus the pirate.
Plus the pirate. I think you just probably hero power and then rallying blade, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think so. It's just too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Now, does Steward of Darkshire work? It's at 1 health minion, so is that pirate going to get the Divine Shield also?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Well, this is a
That's
very
strong.
one-sided matchup here. Well, he's also running level up and quartermaster in this deck, so
Yeah.
it could get worse. And we'll see Fungal
I-
Master come down next turn.
That hero power is just so strong. Like,
It truly is, and the deck has really strong synergy.
oh wow, that helps too.
Oh, the quartermaster. Oh, that's just brutal.
Man, Wild is such an unforgiving format. Like,
These decks are so highly optimized.
Yep.
Wow, and these I think
That's awesome.
we have record for incredibly fast games here.
That was really quick.
But
Just as a
so
recap,
Eon taking it, or MrDollSteak taking it 3-2.
yeah, and you know he had his back to the ropes early. Eon was playing exceptionally well. Took the first game. They MrDollSteak tied it up with his big priest 1-1. Then Eon got the 2-1 lead. Dollstick came back really quickly in the 4th and the 5th game, though. That was a good match.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I wanted to, man, you know, the only thing about this format, about Conquest that I don't like is you don't really get to see some of those decks more, right? Like the big Spell Priest. I thought that was an excellent deck. I wanted to see more of that. But
Right. You
those
want
were
to check
quick
real quick
matches.
in the Discord and see if they're interested in chatting at all?
They are ready to do it. They are ready to chat.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, let's bring them on.
Okay.
Can
How do we
just,
do this?
Can we just add them to our call there? I think if you start a voice call in our group chat, start a voice
Okay.
call with all of us, and I think it should work.
Hey.
Hey, good games, you guys. Those were really fast.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think anytime
quick, man.
anytime we go to 5 games, it's always good. But I think Dollsteak, your paladin deck was just disgusting
Yeah,
in a
I,
good
I
way.
knew I knew my paladin deck would either be good or absolute like trash. So it was the latter. So that was kind of disappointing.
I mean, Murloc Paladin was really strong back in the day, but it's hard. I felt like those two Divine Favors sitting in your hand
Yeah,
just
I wasn't
dead.
sure what my spells should be. I was looking through all the stuff. I'm like, what kind of spells does Paladin really need? I'm just like, if he's bringing heavy decks, because people usually bring memes to these challenges, so I thought maybe he might bring something heavy. So that might be good, but that kind of flopped considering I drew both in both games.
Was kind of
I
hoping
mean,
to
it was kind
see
of just
anything
unfortunate.
can happen, but it's all good.
Yeah, I was considering anything can happen Paladin, but that's more of a controlish deck, and that needs way too many spells.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. And I saw you had messaged me at one point at Oops. Did you was that a misplay or when you played Old
Yeah,
Murkai?
I was gonna play. I was trying to play Finja because they
Oh,
remind me like they both have the exact same stats except for health, and so I mix them up sometimes.
Just gonna get our deck slots taken away. Is that comment?
Blame me. It's all my fault.
So
Like I said,
how?
the final game was rough because you don't have a lot of spells in that deck to begin with, and it's just so hard to pick up against the hero power of Odd Paladin.
Exactly. I think the biggest issue with the deck was because I was really trying some different things. Like I knew there was an interaction when you flip the stats of Void Ripper, like with a minion when you have Murloc War Leader. So like if I had 1/3 on the board and I flipped his stats, it'd be like a 5/3 instead. So basically, because what it does is it flips the stats. Wait, am I thinking? Oh wait, no, it'd be a 5/1. It'd be a 5/1. Never mind. But what it does, it flips the stats and reapplies the. No, actually, it would be a 5/3 because what it does is, it would be with the health buff. It would with the War Leader buff. It'd be a 3/3. Say it was Valfin Inquisitor, and then it flips it. So it actually keeps the buff when it flips. So it'd be a 3/3 plus the 2 extra attack from War Leader. So I was trying. Yeah, I was trying that. I was trying to do it, and I got it off 2 times in casual. So I'm like, it might work. it might work.
That's one of the hard things with these deck building challenges. It's so difficult to test play them because these are not things that you would normally want to bring on ladder.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it depends. You could put that token paladin, that odd paladin on ladder probably, and maybe big priest as well. But some of these they're just more difficult. So what do you end up doing? Play against a friend or play against the innkeeper? But even then, it's kind of difficult.
Also, Dollsteak and I essentially had the same idea for priest because think about it. You're given the option to have a priest deck with barely any minions. You're obviously gonna go with the big route. Like that's the easiest way to go.
I like seeing that OTK deck though. That was pretty spicy.
Yeah, I didn't want to go big priest. I'm not a degenerate.
Shots fired.
But this is Barnes list, so it's more consistent and therefore less tilting cost. The weaponized pinata. I remember how well that worked out for Chai. So
if you're not running,
I was actually considering that.
I mean, if you're not running weaponized pinata and big priest, there's something wrong with your deck.
It should be the Premier 4 drop in Big Priest, not Barnes. So
Yeah.
definitely a weaponized pinata.
I mean, you can never even whiff. You can never even whiff with Shadow Essence because even when it dies, you just get another Lich King or Rag anyways, so it doesn't matter. Or well, not Rag because that's all.
Priest game was pretty interesting though. The Big Priest matchup. Like at one point, MrDollSteak, he had a Lich King on board, and the Death Grip was gonna hit like Velen or something, right?
Yeah.
But it grabbed the
Emperor,
and that
was actually kind of fortunate that I drew Emperor and Malygos.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. No, that worked out well. If it had pulled Velen or Malygos, he would have been in trouble, I think. But yeah, no, that match went a lot faster than I thought it was going to.
Well, considering the first 7 turns were comprised completely of blessings to you, it ended very quickly.
Right? When it works,
And
it really works. But yeah, those big priest matches are slow to begin with. But when it's a big
It's like
priest
the other
mirror,
side of big priest that they don't talk about, right? The darker side. But man,
Another
those are good matches.
looking through my deck list, I
I
actually
didn't
just noticed
play.
I barely
Oh, sorry.
have. I have way too much. I have 6 4-drops in the Murloc deck, so I don't think I shouldn't have put Murloc Knight because the hero power is just trash. Like you can't get Inspire off that early. I don't know what I was thinking.
it's I like the card because I feel like it has a lot of value, but it's got to be in the right deck, and um,
Okay,
unfortunately
let me
that
explain my mindset. Let me explain my mindset when building this deck. Type in Murloc, click, 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 click. Okay, that's very much after deck building.
Yep,
Dude,
yep.
straightforward strategy.
That's a cool card. Let's click that. I was tempted to put Tiny Fin for a second, but yeah.
Yeah, well, there's OP with Divine Favor. Just dump that hand and get
Yeah, dude.
something on the board. Wow.
Also worth noting, my deck didn't even have Tide Caller. Just noticed that. Nice.
Divine Favor is one of those cards that sometimes you feel like, it needs to be nerfed, and other times it sits dead in your hand the entire match, and it's like, it's very matchup
I've been
dependent.
saying this forever, man. I've been saying this forever. Divine Favor is the stupidest card I kid you not. Out of all these years, Divine Favor has been my least favorite card since the beginning of the game because it punishes you for playing slowly, and it also it's just so annoying. If your opponent's playing a slow deck, you draw a lot. If they're playing a fast deck, oh, you drew both of them, you're screwed. Like, look at that last game. They did nothing for me. But for example, say he was playing the Big Priest, I could have drawn like 7 cards with it.
Right. Yeah. No, I've lost matches because of it before as well, very many times.
Much. But it's just one of those cards that if you don't run it in a regular deck, like when Bot Paladin was a thing, you're just significantly lowering your chances of winning. That's just the sad part.
I never like running 2 for that reason. But there are just certain matchups where you need it. And that's why running the second one is a good idea, just because you want to be able to guarantee that you are able to use it once against a slow deck. But yeah, it is a very stupid card, and I think Eon's sort of explanation about why it's so stupid, I think, is very, very true. It's just one of those cards that is either incredibly powerful or completely dead, and I think that kind of variance is really quite unhealthy because ultimately it's such an easy card to include in decks, and it can just win games by itself, or it can cause you to lose games.
The type of cards I like are cards that have a normal effect and have a very, if this makes sense, throughout your games, its effect is very linear, if that makes sense. Like when you swipe, you're using it to clear minions. If you use Oaken Summons, you're using it to summon your guys. It's like these cards that vary from game to game are just, I really hate it. Like that's why one of the biggest reasons I hate randomness in the game. So that's why I've been starting to play a little less of Hearthstone lately. If you notice, I'm ranked 9. So, so like these cards that have
point.
Yeah, the cards that have a similar game plan every single game, those are the cards that I like. Like, I know it kind of contradicts itself that Mage is one of my highest played classes. I have like almost 2,000 wins on the class, but I kind of contradicts my point there. But I don't know. I just like Mage in general. Like Reno Mage. Reno Mage is the deck I have the most, and Exodia Mage I have the most wins on. And those two decks, they're very Reno Mage less so, but Exodia Mage is a very
there's a plan.
Similar game plan. Yeah, the game plan is very similar each time, but these cards that are vary from game to game on like how effective it is, not how it's used, but how effective it is. That's just what I hate.
Yeah,
I like. Or go ahead. Sorry, MrDollSteak.
Oh no. Yeah.
So well, yeah, I agree that I think it's great when you have cards like Swipe that are used in a similar way every game, more or less. Obviously, you can do slightly different things with it.
For sure.
But I like when, not that the card itself becomes vastly more effective in certain matchups, but there's different ways that you can use it. So like a card that I really like is Death Lord, for example, because you either can use it for fatigue, or you can use it as a anti-aggro minion in the early game. And both of those, the card itself is very similar in what it always does. Of course, you do get some weird variants if it pulls really key combo pieces. So ideally, there'll be something slightly different there. But I like those cards that used in a similar way in many games, unless you're being clever with it. But I guess it does run the risk of then swinging matchups. Like I think if you compare Dirty Rat and Deathlord, to me, Dirty Rat is more unfair than Deathlord is because of the way in which you can keep stacking the effects up. And
agreed.
Totally different. Whereas in Deathlord's case, for the most part, it's just a card that you can always just slam it down, but there's times in the game where it's more effective, and it's knowing when to use it to its full effect, I think, is more rewarding. And I think that's the difference with a card like Divine Favor, where you're carefully about when to use it. It's just, is there a good time to use it? Yes, I use it. Similar thing with Dirty Rat. Certain points where, if you just jam Dirty Rat against the combo deck, you will lose. Yeah. But it's usually easier to know when to use Dirty Rat than, say, Deathlord, for example.
I think Deathlord is one of those cards that really... I feel like Deathlord is one of those cards that rewards you a bit more if you're tracking what your opponents played. Like, if, say, you know what they're playing. Like, say they're playing a Reno deck. Deathlord obviously has a higher chance to hit more valuable targets. So if you're tracking that, say they've held this card in their left hand, like obviously you have tools like Hearthstone Deck Tracker to help you with that. But say you notice on the left they've been holding a card since turn 2, there's a good chance that might be something like Mal'Ganis, N'Zoth, stuff like that. So that's when you know that Deathlord isn't going to be as much of a tool to help you get a big threat out of their deck, but more of a tool to get them closer to fatigue, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
I like that, but I think the problem with a lot of the cards that we feel are on the fringe of being like silly cards, like Divine Favor, is the fact that the mana costs are usually very cheap. So you have to play them early, but of them is an effect that you want late in the game. And for instance, if you challenge some kind of combo deck, you're saving the Dirty Rat for a particular part in the game where you can play the rat, right? So to pull out a combo piece. Usually that's late and there's a tell with that, right? They use Psych Melon, whatever it may be, right? So I think if the cost of those cards were more expensive, because then you don't have those situations where you have to think about how versatile a certain card is, like it's an all-in play. I'm using this to stop a combo. Personally, my favorite cards are cards like Psych Melon and Ultimate Infestation, where I always get the same thing that I'm going to get every game, right? I'm going to draw 4 cards off it. I'm going to draw 5 cards off this, get 5 health, whatever, But I guess I'm the only one who likes those 2 cards.
you said.
I mean, that is an interesting point because random cards. If you think about it, Juicy Psych Melon, as you say, is really not a random card.
It's a tutor. I mean, it's extremely consistent. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too. I think one of the things about Hearthstone is the randomness come at some point, because if all we did have were straightforward cards, eventually power creep will push a lot of these older cards out of the meta, and then we just have broken cards, right? So I don't know.
I think the problem with Psych Melon is that it's far too cheap. Really, even if it was 7 mana, it would still be played all the time.
Broken. Psych Melon is ridiculous.
4 mana. It's just, you really don't need to think about playing it. And in the late game, you can still Psych Melon and Spreading Plague, which is just... It's really I hate that card as well. And see, Spreading Plague is another one of those cards that's just sort of like Divine Favor, where it's just completely useless against certain decks.
Yep. Druid's the main reason I haven't been playing much this season. Like, for real. Druid's, like, so degenerate. Like...
you know what Psych Melon should have?
To play against. That's all. It's just not fun as much. it's just I like playing casually, but I don't think I'm much of a competitive player anymore, just because it's like the same stuff over and over.
Constantly. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, hey, I think we should probably. It's getting a little bit late over here. We should probably start wrapping it up a little bit.
Okay.
Good, definitely good games, you guys. MrDollSteak, congrats on the win. But definitely good games to both of you guys. I think anytime it goes to 5 games, we always have something special. So, I appreciate you guys playing. And before we go, Eon, you want to tell us or tell the audience where people can find you?
For sure. Only real thing I have is a Twitter. I don't have a crazy amount of followers on it. It's just a couple hundred. Actually just hit 400. Cool. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Eon_HS. I tweet every once in a while. I'm not one of those like super serious social media people. Like half the time I'm just memeing around on there.
Oh, for sure. But it's always good.
Yeah. If you want to see some, like, normally I just at the beginning of expansions I theory craft and just post funny screenshots in general. So yeah, if that's what you're into, check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you again for coming on. And MrDollSteak, how about you? Where can people find you?
Yep, similar thing, just on Twitter as MrDollSteak is the handle. I post all my deck lists up there from this competition, so if anyone wants to try any of these on ladder, the Odd Rogue and the Odd Paladin actually are just normal ladder decks that happen to fit the conditions. So you definitely can try those. They're just my takes on it. So I'll be posting those there. I also write for Vicious Syndicate, and that should be coming out in about 2 weeks now. So keep an eye out for that.
You can also find DollSteak and I on the Wild HS Discord. We're both Wild experts on there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Come there. It's pretty popular. We got around, like, the server has a lot of members nowadays. We're always chatting in there. Always people online. Normally the wild experts aren't always online. If you need tips with deck building or anything in general, like, just come check it out. It's pretty cool. We actually, I think the server a little bit ago, it got partnered or something, because now if you just want to join, you don't have to actually have a link. You just do discord.gg/wildhearthstone, I believe. Yep. And yeah, come join, chat with us. It's a fun time there.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Ken Sanity, what about you? Where can people find you online?
Oh, sure. If you are brave enough to enter, you can go to twitter.com/KensanityHS. I post the weirdest stuff, like Hearthstone and other stuff. And pick 1 or 2 decks to stream, and I only streamed those decks for the entire month until, like, I learned the nuances of certain matchups. So you can see that at twitch.tv/Kensanity. This month I'm playing Togwaggle in Standard and Starliner in Wild. Sorry.
It's all good. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at NateWolfHS. It's NateWolfEHS. And I want half of the podcast Into the Wild, the first Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast. And you can learn everything about that at intothewildhs.com. Again, all of you guys, thank you so much for playing along in the games tonight. Thank you, Ken Sandy, for helping to cast the match. This is definitely a lot of fun. So thank you all so much.
Thanks
for casting our games, guys. I know it's late, and yeah, we really appreciate your support and just for putting this great opportunity on for us.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome to be on here.
Man, loved your decks.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a lot of fun. So we got our it looks like 2 more matches up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. You can check out the End of the Wild website for the full schedule, or just follow us on Twitch for go live notifications. All right. Well, it is getting very late. Thank you again, everybody. And with that, I will call it a night.
Night, everyone.
Hey, bye, guys.